Hi and welcome to day 4 of the Dot Watcher for the Adventure Racing World Championships. I'm Liam and it's certainly been a day of a lot of action and even a bit of drama. Obviously the big news story is the victory going to Seagate in a time of 79 hours and 13 minutes, making a 4th consecutive World Champs victory. But in terms of dot watching, all the action is happening behind them. So as I stand at the moment, we're about 84 hours into the race on day 4. At one point, the time splits between 2nd and 6th place out on the course had reached 30 minutes only. So in virtual terms, that's a photo blank finish in adventure racing. I did the maths on it. If it was just a 100-metre sprint race, it'd be 0.06 seconds between 2nd and 6th place. And let's break it down with those teams. So probably the biggest news in the drama to come out is that Loisier Sports Nature from France have now DNF'd from the race. So at one point they had worked themselves up into 2nd place and at the last checkpoint at TA34 they had to pull out, apparently reporting hypothermia coming off the water from one of their members. Hopefully all is well with that team. I haven't any further news on that, but definitely some drama at the pointy end. So that opened it up for the race for the podium positions. Those podium positions predominantly been held by the two Swedish teams, Hägglöf Silver and Swedish Armed Forces team, for the majority of the race. On the last bike leg though, both made a big fatal error on the virtual last turn-off of the race, missing it. Hägglöf recovered quicker, but in the time before the Swedish Armed Forces team took to recover, Adventure Medical Kits, the American team, have slipped into 3rd place, and NatureX from France is closing down very hard on those teams. So as we stand at the moment, that final podium place is really up for the grabs. It could come down to any of those 4 teams. As it stands, Hägglöf are in the virtual 2nd place, Adventure Medical Kits, and then Swedish Armed Forces and NatureX. But less than 30 minutes separating all of those teams. It's going to be some exciting dot watching. Unfortunately, I don't have the result. By the time I get this out, you guys will probably know more than me. Estonia Ace Adventure have consolidated their 6th place. And then Team FMR, after being right up the front for the majority of the race, have dropped off the pace a little bit and are holding down a comfortable 7th place. We then have a tight battle for the last of the top 10 placings between Columbia Vitorade of Spain, Black Hill Aparvanet, the Czech team, and then Team Godzone Adventure from the UK. It's interesting to see on the pack rafting leg that Columbia had opted to hike a section, which the majority of the other teams decided to paddle. That actually maybe cost them a little bit of time. Their decision might have come down to how the team is feeling or wind conditions at the time. So again, a very interesting tight battle for the final 10 placings. If we turn our attention to the top American teams, those leading the local charge, AMK have obviously held on to the top American team spot. We then have the Teton Adventure Races in a 2nd American team, also holding down in 11th place, just a shade out of the top 10. Followed by Yoga Slackers, who are in 12th overall. They're having a nice close little battle at the moment with Raddies from Team Switzerland and Cyanosis of South Africa. The 3rd American team at the moment is Untamed New England, and they're holding down 15th place. Sorry, they're the 4th team, chasing down Yoga Slackers for the 3rd team. Obviously, not all the action has been happening right up the front of the race. There's been plenty happening towards the middle and the back of the pack as well. There's been greater attrition, obviously, coming into day 4 of the race. We now have a total of 8 teams who have DNF'd the race with the withdrawal of Loisier Sport Nature. And we also have another 12 teams classed as non-competitive. We had a question on social media about the non-competitive classing. We'd seen non-competitive teams include all the short course teams and unranked teams. So traditionally a short course team is a team which still has all their members, are still racing, but are not going to make it through all the full course in time, and so therefore have to take an abbreviated course. Normally those teams would be ranked above unranked teams, an unranked team being a team that's lost at least one team member or have maybe had some other rule and fraction, but otherwise continuing on the course maybe with just 3 team members. However, the Expedition World Champs this year, it appears that all of those teams have been classed as non-competitive. So in terms of the short course teams, we have, there's actually a first short course official cutoff has reached us now. We had a number of teams that just made it on the bubble. These include Off-Course Navigation, Tumbleweeds, and Uruguay Natural Sports Ultra, Silent Chasers, and Orion. So yeah, they only had 1 or 2 hours to spare before making that course cutoff. Those that were unfortunate to miss out include Expedition Guarani, Monarchs, and USMES, who are our former Lantern Rouge team. That mantle of the Lantern Rouge team now passes to Team Orion. So we'll be cheering them on. They're currently holding down 38th place. So from a total start list of 58 teams, that's a very solid effort in the top 2/3 anyway. Looking at that track, they've had a very consistent race, a few little wobbles here and there, but have done very well. Anyway, lots of action for day 4 of the dot watching. I'm going to wrap it up there. We're going to be obviously cheering the teams at the front of the race coming home through and following all the other action on the live.arworldseries.com website, as well as from the daily updates from the Adventure Centre with Eric and Viv.